Yo, what is up, everybody? Your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Podcast. Back at it like a bad habit. Another live episode. And this week I have the pleasure of joining me to break down this AFC and NFC matchups coming up this weekend. My boy, Jordan Thomas from Truth Serum Football. What is up, Jordan?
What is up, my man? Back at it like a bad habit. I love that, man. I love it.
You know, man, hey, last week, I didn't do a show because I was away, family stuff, traveling. But this
Being
week,
Rocky.
yeah, bro, exactly. I kind of did some stuff. You saw me. I was in Philadelphia. Couldn't help myself. I was there at the Rocky Steps, which I didn't know that, it's an actual library or some shit like that, bro. You know what I mean? I just don't, me, the kids, everybody did the damn thing. And I had to throw some shade at the Eagles, but it kind of backfired, man, after this weekend by the ass whipping that we got. But hey, fan to fans, baby.
Yep, absolutely. Man, as much as this last week's divisional matchups kind of broke my heart, I feel like I was pretty dead accurate on my predictions. I went on TSS, and I mean, everybody was picking the Giants to be close, but I felt like the Eagles were going to come out with that big chip on their shoulder, and they sure as hell did. They're looking really, really good right now, as much as that pains me to say.
I mean, absolutely, dude. I expected a closer game, and we're gonna dive into that one because we're gonna kind of do a quick recap on all of them, and because I'm gonna give you your time to so you could. I know you're a big Dallas fan, right? You're a diehard Dallas fan, bro. You're all things
Yeah.
Dallas, the Mavericks, the freaking. I think you're going back to the Rangers too, right? Now you
The
also
Rangers, the Longhorns, yeah, the whole nine. If I were into soccer, I'd be a Dallas Burn fan. It's just how I was raised.
I have no idea they had a soccer team, bro. Is that MLS or like
Yeah, MLS.
Oh man, but listen. Let me pick your head here. Let's go real quick. Let's recap these games. And of course, you know what? Since you're such a Dallas fan, let's start with your matchup here, man. Which, Dak came back, buddy, after having a great first round against the GOAT. I thought he had some redemption, changed the narrative a little bit. I think he still needs to be more successful, but I didn't. I picked the Niners. But tell me a little about this game because it was exactly what the score rejected, right? Nothing but defense.
So I think what hurts the most in this game is I felt like if our defense, the Dallas defense, showed up and showed out, I thought we were going to win this game. Right? I thought Dak would do just enough to outduel Brock Purdy. And I mean, at the end of the day, man, this one's on Dak. This one's on Dak. It's on Kellen Moore. It's, business as usual. Another January exit. It's becoming pretty normal for this team. And, all respect to San Francisco. They've got a phenomenal squad. And as a Cowboys fan, we wore it like a badge of honor earlier in the season. Like, hey, we've got, Cooper Rush out here, slinging this thing and we're still winning games. Well, they're on quarterback number 3, who I think is now very much quarterback number 1. But, what I will say impressed me the most about Purdy is, man, he didn't have that great of a game. It's not like he was dicing up the defense, but, man, calm, cool, collected, never seemed like he got rattled even a little bit. And, he 100%, he outdueled Dak, and they're very deserving of being in the NFC title game against Philadelphia. And for what it's worth, man, I hope they whoop the shit out of those Eagles. I do.
I'm there with you because 8 weeks ago I put a bet on them to win the Super Bowl. It was like plus 700. So I literally the Giants are out. So my money is on the Niners. I've got to root for them the rest of the way because I do want to win that money.
Yep.
And to add to your point, right? Talking about Brock Purdy, man. My boy, the Brock here. He finally had the bad game that you thought he was going to have at one point, right? Because the man has been on fire, 2+ touchdowns every single game, every single started. They've been averaging 35 points a game. That offense with him, leading the troops at the helm. And the fact that he had the game, because, at one point you got to come down to earth, right? He did, but they won. And like you mentioned, it's one of those things that if you have the bad game and you are going to lose, that's the way to go. You know what I'm saying? Yep. That is the way to go. Yeah, here we go. We got some comments popping in already, bro.
Like the 2 old guys on the Muppets. You damn right.
Oh man, hey, take a look at Muppets.
Well, one at least.
Yeah. But it's funny. that's the scary part. And you know why? The team, because you knew both top two defenses, right? The
Yep.
player team that actually don't turn the ball over, that turns the ball over the least is gonna win the game.
Yep.
And
And I tell you what, man, if Trevon Diggs catches that ball
Mhm,
that hit him right in the hand, I do. I think Dallas wins that game. And, he had a little bit of luck on his
mhm.
side by, Diggs dropping that. But at the end of the day, we say Brock Purdy had a bad game, but he didn't have a terrible game. He
No,
didn't have a horrible game. He didn't make mistakes.
no.
He just was ineffective,
Mhm.
right? And I mean, that's good enough with the rest of the pieces on this team to get the
Mhm.
job done. That's all he has to do is be a little bit better than what Jimmy G was because they were right there last year and they're even better this season, right? Debo's healthy, Kittle's healthy, like they've got all the firepower they need. So for me, I think this was his biggest test. And, statistically, I know Philadelphia has a really good defense. I don't think they have a defense like Dallas has a defense. And I think Brock Purdy will have a much better game in this NFC title game.
Yeah, I mean, and when we break down that matchup, definitely we're gonna hit a lot of that because it's gonna be a big difference. There's gonna be
Yep.
more points scored on this one. I mean, top two defense in the league. I wasn't expecting any less. And like you mentioned, they are loaded. And of course, bad breaks for you guys. Pollard going out, that did not help the cause. He's your
And
man. He's
man,
your
going back to Kellen Moore, man, like Pollard goes out and you just continue to pound Ezekiel Elliott for 2.7 yards
Mhm.
per carry, if that. Like, try something different, man. We've got and look, I know
2.6
Cavante
yeah,
Turpin isn't a running back, and it's not. But man, the kid's got some speed. He can replicate some of what Pollard does. You have to at least try, and that's ultimately where I think we failed. Is we just were the normal vanilla ass Cowboys who would not try anything different until that god awful whatever that was at the end of the game. That play where Elliott got just
Oh my
absolutely
god.
laid the fuck out, man.
It's a really bad way to end your career as a Cowboy because he's gone next season. You know what I'm saying, dude? That is the possibility to get leveled like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here we go. Look
Yeah,
at Patriot
at
Sports.
the end of the
Listeners Day is
day, it's the
Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys, and at the end of the day, at least they made the playoffs, unlike the Green Bay Packers.
Absolutely, and they're gonna be probably quarterbackless coming this next season. Probably wearing a different color somewhere else in Aaron Rodgers. Yeah,
I'm
look at
guessing
TSS.
I'm guessing TSS fantasy on this one was actually written by the great Mary Jane because she is an Eagles fan. But we'll see. I think Big Cock Brock's gonna hold his own against these Eagles.
I think so. I think so. We got to definitely dive a little more into that, man. Shout out to PSR and Coop for and from TSS
My
to
guys.
jumping on, man. We appreciate it. All right, let's go to the next. Let's look at the next recap here. Let's look at the other matchup. Let's talk to my Giants. This is going to be a quick one because there was no excitement whatsoever. Giants against the Eagles. I thought third time the charm. Look, we played them three times already. There has to something's got to give. I wasn't feeling great coming into the game, but I did not expect a 31 point annihilation, and ass freaking whooping. They just showed us what we were, a very offensive challenge team, which we overshot ourselves this year. That's the bottom
Yeah,
line.
of course. Nothing but respect for the New York Giants, man. I think they made it farther than any of us expected them to. Daniel Jones looks like a new guy in that offense. Brian Dabble is absolutely the truth. He's going to have them in position for years to come. I really, and I was very critical of the Giants with you, with Nikki, with a lot of the Giants people I respect. I kind of didn't take them seriously. And then, as the year kind of went on, they just kept winning and kept figuring it out. And man, Kayvon Thibodeau is that dude. That dude is going to be wreaking havoc
Yeah,
for years to come. And ultimately, I just think they were a little bit overmatched and over their head. I think they got a little bit cocky because they kept it close in week 17.
yeah.
And I think that think Philadelphia had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder that said, "Yeah, you think you can hang with us? Let's see, let's run it." So
It was like the Giants as a freaking pellet gun, going into a fight with a dude with a shotgun, and the Eagles, right? It was so undermatched. And look, again, I was confident with Minnesota. That one I was for sure because you could pass against Minnesota, shitty secondary, and it's Kirk Cousins, right?
Yep.
Dak Prescott's little baby brother. You know what I'm saying, or his cousin, because those two guys have to look at. No pun intended. Those two guys have the same exact record. They show up great in the regular season, and they fold like an accordion in the playoffs. So, honestly, but the Eagles, yeah, it's a different story, man. I did my trash talk video of it and everything else because it's natural. So, let's see. What did PSR? Do they pay Danny Domes? He meant dimes, of course. Honestly, this is my take. He deserves a fair market value for a guy that was okay in the season, right? Unfortunately, he doesn't deserve the inflated salary that Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott has created, in the sense of like you got to keep this guy because you have no other choice. I would love to keep him there's not a lot out there that you could go after, right? But if it's not Lamar Jackson, right, or a one
What
year
about
rental
what
with
what about Derek Carr?
for that you keep Danny Dimes.
Do you? If Derek Carr is coming in at a comparable, maybe even cheaper price, do you do you consider it?
Here's what I say. It depends on what weapons they put around Derek Carr. Because Danny Downs, without receivers, he has something that Derek Carr does not have: mobility. He
Yep.
rushed for 760 something yards, 5 touchdowns. I think it was over 5 touchdowns. So you know what? He made for the lack of passing game that he had. Because honestly, I say Hodgins, Richie James, Galladay, who's been out to lunch for that contract. I mean, Slayton. Look at what you had. Bellinger as your tight ends, and then Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was those two guys had over
That
2,000 rushing yards, right?
that to me is the key. More than do you
Yeah,
bring Danny Dimes back? Do you sign Saquon to a second contract? How do you feel about that, Elio?
I think you have to, right? Even though it breaks my rule against signing running backs after their fifth year, especially
Hmm.
one had a great season again. Shakes to 2018. We know what he could do when he's healthy. I don't know if it's sustainable. While there's people coming out in the draft, running backs that you could probably pick this year because it's going to be so quarterback heavy in the first round and wide receiver heavy that you might be able to get away with picking as your first pick in the 20 something pick a good running back that has the same skill set as Saquon, catch it, and also can go ahead and run it as well. So man, it's a tough one. I love Saquon because he plays with a lot of heart, and he is one of the best to do it when he's healthy. At this point, you just gotta kind of like look up what's out there. I mean, you're not gonna sign a free agent running back. You either draft one or you pay Saquon. That's the bottom line.
Yep. And I think wherever Saquon goes, he's going to be Saquon for at least another year or
Mhm.
two, as health permitting. Um, I will say this: the number I've seen floated out there for him so far is 16 mil a year, and
That's
there's not a running back I think you could justify at this stage in a second
mhm.
contract paying that for. I really think the NFL needs to do something specifically about the running back
Yeah,
position, because it doesn't really matter how good you are in those first 5 years. You're not going to get that fat contract after that. You
no,
just there's too many miles on on those legs. And I think after Saquon, I think the next best running back on the market is Tony Pollard,
absolutely.
right? And I,
Absolutely.
I think he'll ultimately get franchise tagged, though. So
Mhm.
I do think they'll bring him back. I would be interested to see, though, if they don't bring him back, if they make a run at my boy Bajan
Mhm. That's
in
what I
the
was.
NFL draft, because I
That's
think
what I was.
that
Yeah.
guy is a
Mhm.
Brees Hall type
Yep.
plug and play top 5 fantasy running back year one.
Absolutely. I was forgetting. The name didn't come up to me, but that was who I was thinking of. And it's kind of it could fall to the Giants, and probably to TSS point over here, Commissioner Coop. The only dumbass team that probably gives them other money will be America's team, the other America's team. The Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? So don't be
Man,
surprised.
I think the Dolphins are more likely to take a run at Tony Pollard because if there's one team that really just loves stealing all of America's team's players for their fake ass America's team, it's the Miami Dolphins. They love what y'all do with Cedric Wilson. You know how much
Dude, man.
Dallas could have used Cedric Wilson in that damn playoff game this week? That dude's barely on the freaking punt routine for Miami.
Yeah, he
So
barely played, man. He's not even on the
yeah.
damn special teams. That dude did barely sniff the field, man. It's unreal. Oh man, but no, honestly, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Giants. I mean, I like Dable. Dable has a good. It seems what he did this year is a lot of. He has a good football mind on his head, right? He did a
He
lot of
does.
created an offense for Daniel Jones, and that's great. That's what you're supposed to do for your quarterback. Create a system that the person's going to be successful with a skill set. Use whatever he had at his disposal. But this team is not going to do this again if you don't upgrade the Giants again. You know, if you don't give them, if you do not get put more pieces, you need more offense. At the bottom line, defense
I
is it's going to be solid. But yeah,
I feel like Dayball has the potential to be an elite head coach,
we,
right? And I look at, going back to Dallas, sorry to talk about them so much, but I
we
look
do.
at a guy like Mike McCarthy, right? And you really just hope that guy doesn't screw up the game plan, right?
Mhm.
I look at Brian Dayball as somebody like, oh, that guy can absolutely craft something to make you win a game when your team really isn't that good. And he did it all freaking year this year.
Yep, he did. I'm so glad they didn't hire Brian Flores because that would have been a complete disaster with that team. All right, you know what I mean. So look, and the thing, like you said, just to, not to keep harping into the Giants, and we're going to move on to the next one. He does have the ear of the GM, which the former GM for the Bills. I forget his name right now, and he's gonna get Dable whatever he needs. Through the draft and also via free agency. That's the
Yep.
reason why when he got hired, he brought his guy with him. That's
Yep.
bottom line. So I think the future looks bright if the right pieces get put together in the right place. All
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
talk about them Bengals, man. That Joey Shiesty, bro. He he's built different.
Joe
He's built different.
Shiesty, baby.
He is built.
So I got to be Judge Jordan this week, and I got to on Champs versus Chumps on TSS. It was the Bill Arena versus Bengal Jim, and I felt like the entire world kind of has been overlooking Cincinnati most of the season. Um, I think even more so, people are overlooking Joe Burrow, and it
Mhm.
and it blows my mind. Uh, Ultimately, man, I'm not sure that Joe Burrow isn't the best quarterback in the National Football League. I think he is on the shortest of lists. I probably take Mahomes, like if I have to pick one to start a franchise. But man, they've really built something around Joe Burrow, and all that dude does is win, baby. And so you talked about picking the Niners coming into the postseason. My Super Bowl matchup has been Cincinnati over San Francisco, and I am unchanged on that. It's still how I think it's going to play out.
Oh, absolutely. Look, again, if it wasn't because I picked the Niners because they had the better odds, right? The better return on the bet. It's one of those you throw in some money in there and you let it ride to see what happens. But obviously, from a standpoint of favoritism, if they make it to the Super Bowl, I believe that the Bengals have a legitimate shot. Now, the only problem that we see with the Bengals, it didn't show this week, at their offensive line. I mean, they manhandled the Buffalo's front line with three backups, right? I don't think that's going to happen against the Niners if they make it to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? But talking about
Mhm.
Joe Burrow, like you adding to your point, this dude, let me tell you something. He reminds me because he has that it. He's that dude. He reminds me of Tom Brady. Underlook,
Mhm.
come in. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but he doesn't have a weak arm either. He's not the fastest. He's not as athletic as Allen and Lamar. He doesn't have the gun and the creativity that Patrick Mahomes
Mahomes.
has.
Yep.
I'm like you. I think it's Mahomes, and then you got to see who else is coming, who else behind him. And Joe Burrow is definitely doing it again this year when everybody was like, well, they started 0-2, Super Bowl hungover. Let's see what's going to happen. Chase gets injured. This guy gets injured, but doesn't matter. He goes in there, man, and he loves the spotlight. When the lights are brightest, this dude steps up.
He's at his best. Yep.
Mhm. And he
And
likes
and
he's cocky. I'm the underdog. I'm going to go out there and prove you wrong. That's what he likes, a chip on the shoulder.
yeah, I love the post game interview when he's like, "Yep, we
Yeah.
came in here to dominate. The word dominate. We
Mhm.
came in here to dominate all four quarters, and that's what we did. Like just plain and simple, no BS about it. And I get the offensive line
Mhm.
concerns with Cincinnati and how that could hurt them against a team like San Francisco or even
Mhm.
Philadelphia, right?
Yep.
Because Philadelphia still got a dog in this
They
race.
do. They do.
The thing I've seen out of the Bengals that has impressed me the most is Joe Mixon has been a non-factor. Like Zach Taylor and those coaches are doing exactly what other teams aren't doing and
Mhm.
adjusting, right? Samaje Perine, of all players,
Mhm.
right, is really tearing it up for this team. They're going away from Mixon, who's the guy that's going to pound the rock, and they're doing the little dump offs to Samaje Perine, and he's absolutely crushing it. And that's doing just enough to give him enough time to hit those big plays with with the
Mhm.
Jamar Chases, the T
And,
Higgins, the Tyler Boyds, like
and think about
could
this.
you imagine if they had an offensive line?
Oh my God.
Like, they're so damn good, man.
They put a really good team around them, which is that's crazy, right? I mean, knowing again, it goes back to a good coaching and a good system, right? Or and a good organization that's going to listen to the individuals that are in place to tell you what we need in order to succeed, right? And I think that's what happened here with the Bengals. You know, getting Joe Burrow, drafting Chase, Higgins, all these guys. And look, Mixon had his best games is week 9 this past week.
Mhm.
He rushed
He
over
did.
100 yards. But your point to about Perrine, dude, he had over 60 yards, all purpose yards, which is, 33 on the ground, another 30 something in the air, 5 receptions. And people think when the guy catches 5 balls, that's keeping the defense honest. You know what I'm saying? Because it's helping you with that problem you have with the offensive line. Um,
Absolutely.
and then look, people forget that they have a healthy Hayden Hurst who
Yep.
I mean, the last 3 games of the season when he's finally been back to the lineup and fully healthy, he's been a factor. He's been a factor,
He's
and
a hell of a 4th option, that's for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely, absolutely, man. But definitely, Burrow is built different. I like you. Mahomes is the man, and then to me is Joey Ice, man. After that, he is. It's unreal. People counted them out. They started 0-2, and then they were 6-4 at one point, and they did the same shit they did last year. At 6-4, they went and ran the damn tables. All right,
If
and
if Joe Burrow beats Pat Mahomes for the 4th time this weekend, right, I think you may be entering a situation that I experienced, my whole childhood
Mhm,
basically, where you have the Peyton Manning who,
ready.
let's be real here, man. In my opinion, in my eyes, what my eyes have told me through all my years of watching football, there's never been a better quarterback than Peyton Manning. Like that guy was, he
Yeah.
was amazing, right? But it wasn't usually enough
Mhm.
to beat Tom Brady, who I don't think was ever as talented as Peyton, but man, he had that killer instinct. He had that edge. He had that difference, right? And I'm a Michael Jordan hater, but he had that same mentality, that
Mhm.
killer instinct that Michael Jordan had, his whole career.
The only difference is Jordan had it all, the killer instinct, the ability, you know?
But I mean, I honestly I think this is
No,
applicable to the LeBron James Michael Jordan argument because you cannot convince me that Michael Jordan can do more on a basketball court than what LeBron James can. But it might be pretty hard to convince other people that, Jordan's not the GOAT because that chip on the shoulder, that killer instinct, that drive, that shit matters too,
yeah.
right? That's the reason Tom Brady's still slinging it at 45 years old.
That guy needs to retire, dude. He needs to freaking retire,
No, let's run
man.
it back. Let's run it back. I want to see Tom Brady play until he's 50. Like, let's
Vegas, right?
go.
Vegas. You think he's going to Vegas next year? I mean, all the connections are there, right? With Josh McDaniel, who's probably going to get fired after next season because he's going to suck again, and he's going to do anything he needs to save his job. And that's probably the most logical place because I don't think he's coming back to the Bucks. There was a lot of things being said. A
I
lot of his
don't
teammates, rumors that hey, man, he sounded like a guy that he's not coming back.
I don't think he's coming to the Bucks. I don't think he's going back to the Patriots. I would not be surprised if Miami made a run at him.
Oh fuck.
I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas made a run at him. And I don't think this is going to happen now. But there was a point towards the end of the season where I was like, I'm looking at San Francisco, and you have all-world prospect Trey Lance, you have all-time rookie Brock Purdy, and then you have two all-time greats in Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, who I'm pretty sure if they had their choice, they would play for that team. So it's must be nice to be a Niners fan.
Dude, before Brock Purdy, right? That was gonna be the guy. It was gonna be Aaron Rodgers, who they got to go pursue for a rental for a couple of years. Those were the rumors. Maybe Tom Brady, right? You play one more year with that kind of crap. So I mean, Brock Purdy just came in here, man, and completely like debunked all that and threw those plans out the window. Forget about it. This
Yep.
is my team. So Joe
That's
Burrow
his
will,
team. He's
yep,
earned it.
it is. Joe Burrow will
So
bend the knee to Jalen in the Super Bowl. I don't know about that. If I think it's a
yeah.
their chances are better against the Eagles than any other team.
I mean, Jalen won't be in the Super Bowl, so that's not going to happen to
Exactly.
begin with. So, wild scenario. I want to throw a
Yeah,
curveball
go
at you here, right? So, Trey Lance,
ahead.
the word on the street is he's garnering interest for like a third round pick or something like
Mhm.
that, right? What about a team like the Giants? Would that not be the perfect place for him to land? Right? You have the whole thing. We're not sure if Danny Dimes is the guy or not. Trey Lance absolutely has the talent and all the tools to be everything that Daniel Jones is. Just throwing that one out there into the universe. I think it could work.
Same player, man. Same player. And you have one guy that has more snaps than Trey Lance. That's Trey Lance's problem. He doesn't have the experience. And wherever you're going to put him, you're going to need time for the guy to get better. This year, this was his year, right? To be the starter, right? That's the reason why we restructured Jimmy. They were trying to trade Jimmy since like the end of last year.
Yep.
And this was the year that he was going to get the snaps. This was the year that this kid's going to take over. He needs the snaps. He barely has played. So putting him in the Giants would be a complete disaster. Number one, the Giants don't have the weapons that they need to help him improve. So if you're going to do that, I mean, crap. Maybe if you want to
Well,
save some money, you go after Trey. But I don't know.
I think what I'm saying is, what if it comes down to a franchise tag situation with Daniel Jones, right? I'm not necessarily saying throw Trey Lance to the Wolves, but is
oh,
he somebody that could come in and sit, learn the system, they build it
Derek
up?
Carr,
Just your
no, man.
thoughts.
Derek Carr before him. It's probably what's going to happen. I think you know how the New York media is, right? Now that we got a taste of going back to the playoffs and a
You
little bit.
won't go back for 25 years? Isn't
Bro,
that how New York
16
works?
was the last time that we went to the playoffs, and the last time we won a Super Bowl was 11, and then before that, 2007, which you guys haven't won one since '93. So you could make all the playoffs you guys
95,
won.
bro. 95.
Whatever,
Okay,
yeah, it doesn't matter,
95.
bro. Barry Switzer, all right, whatever was that, the Wagoneer, whatever his name was. I mean, hell. Uh,
Fucking
but think
Barry
about it.
Switzer.
It's when we get a taste of that kind of shit. Everybody's like, dude, no, we want to be back there again because it's brutal. It's like Dallas, like Philadelphia. You know what I mean? The fans are brutal, and so is the media. So adding Lance to the mix is not going to be a popular move with the franchise, man. I don't think that's going to happen. It's
If
a
the
nice
cost is cheap enough, I mean, shit, I'll tell you right now,
you take them.
Dallas wants to bring him in to be our backup. Let's fucking go. Like, I am not sold on Dak Prescott. I'm not. I've been a Dak supporter since day one,
I
and
have it.
I finally got broken in this last game. I cannot do it any longer. Tony Romo, forever my guy. Dak Prescott is not.
Hey, Romo 2.0, baby. All right, Romo
Nah,
2.0.
nah, 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 nah.
Romo 2.0, man. But
You
that's
give Romo never fucking had a defense, and you gave Romo this defense, he would have won a Super Bowl. Period.
That's true. You know what? I'll give you that. That is true, my friend. That is very true. And you're right. And you know what? And I don't. Did Romo ever had this great of a running game that during his career he had
The,
Shady, right?
the,
You
the
got
best year
Murray,
he had was the DeMarco Murray
Uncle Mary.
blow up year where
Mhm.
the refs fucked us out of beating the Green Bay Packers when Dez caught the ball. So that was the year, man. That was the best team that Dallas has had since I was a child.
Mhm.
That was the one that got away from us. But um,
And I think
yeah,
they
it's
lost you guys in the
been a
playoffs.
rough 20 years.
All right, let's finish up the recap with the Jags and Chiefs, and it was gutsy performance by Mahomes, man, and again, the guy's banged up, high ankle sprain. Look, no shout out to the Jags. They you gotta tip their hats to them. They got a lot of good things cooking for the future, I
It,
believe. And
hardcore into the
yeah,
Duval. I'm
do it.
all about it, man.
Yeah.
And I look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, man, and I don't think they are too ahead of a team like the
Mhm.
Giants as far as offensive weapons, right? You have ETN, but like Christian Kirk, he's a good player, right? He's not that guy. He's not the alpha. He's not that stud number one. You know who I think could be is Calvin Ridley, and
That's
I
what I was
think
gonna
people
say.
are overlooking that guy is joining this team next year.
Mhm.
You added because I'm not sure if Christian Kirk survives the season. I don't know what his contract structure
Mhm.
looks like, but I know that like after this season, it was going to get real expensive to keep that guy around. But I
Yeah.
could see them making a play at another wide receiver in the draft. And look, it's this simple. Trevor Lawrence has arrived. He's
Mhm.
here. He's got a seat at the table. And as we move into next season, I think those three up top, the Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen, I think Trevor Lawrence is right there with those three.
He has definitely all the tools, and last year you gotta throw that one out the window, man. It wasn't all his,
Oh, it's a
really
shit
bad
show, yeah.
yeah, bad scenario. You give him something there with a little more structure and a little more substance, and look what he does, right? That game in the playoffs, man, that first round when they beat Justin Herbert, which I think it's also up there in the top echelons, but again, he's playing for the Chargers. Uh, I think Justin Herbert is, it's one of those guys too. But again, it's one of those things there where he's hasn't been successful. First time he makes the playoffs, but he went and beat a better team in the Chargers, right? And being down by that much, turning the ball over like
All
5 times,
right.
dude,
Yep.
that's crazy. It takes a lot of balls, man, and a lot of like.
Yeah, a lot of
And,
moxie to come back from that. Dak couldn't come back from two
no,
interceptions. Trevor had
no,
five and a freaking half.
no.
Like, Jesus.
And yeah, he was down by like 28 points. Dak was only down by like 8. You know what I mean, dude? And he couldn't freaking like make it rain at least for a little bit for a touchdown, man. It was all field goals. But yeah, that team is not far from being a staple there, man. In the league, and they got all the tools. ATN's going to be around for a while. You have and they got good makers. I mean, fucking Brandon Ingram. I can't believe that
One
guy's.
big chip, one big chip that I think could fall. T. Higgins,
Mhm.
right? T. Higgins, Cincinnati Bengals, he's the number two. I think T. Higgins is the best number two wide receiver in the NFL. And I think T. Higgins is an alpha
Mhm.
wide receiver number one, right?
Yep.
His college quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, he's going to be a free agent after next
Mhm.
year.
Calvin Ridley.
Jacksonville will spend money.
They
They
will.
will make moves. I would not be shocked if we see T. Higgins, this time 12, 16 months down the road, would not be shocked if he ended up as a Jacksonville Jaguar at all.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one more thing, man. Before we leave, before we go and do the recaps, I mean the previews. Do you honestly think that the Dallas Cowboys, right, are gonna hang up to both Zeke and Pollard?
I don't. I do not, but I do think there is a world that exists in. So at the end of the day, Tony Pollard has to be the top priority of everybody on our team. We have to keep Pollard. He is our
Mhm.
best playmaker. He's our best offensive player, right? He's also 26. He's got limited reps, but he just got injured. He's not a big guy. He's not going to take a huge workload. I
Mhm.
think the way forward is franchise tag Pollard, draft a replacement, right? If it's Bijan, perfect. If it's not, a guy like Gibbs, there's some other people in the draft that I think can come into that role. But Zeke is either going to get cut or he's
Okay.
already said he'll take a pay cut, right? So he could go the Demarcus Lawrence route. The only thing about that is, man, Demarcus Lawrence still has something in the tank. Zeke's fucking done, man. That dude might as well hang him up. Like, if it weren't for his contract, I don't think he would be in the NFL next season. I
No.
do not.
And Pollard, you guys have underused him a lot. So for what is it? His third year, right? He has very few miles, right? This year was his best
Correct.
year, and he got less attempts than Zeke. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He has a lot less miles than Zeke at this point, and yeah, you got to look at that part as well, right? For
Having
sustainability.
having a guy like Zeke with Pollard, though, I think helps Pollard tremendously. Like, you do need that bruise
Mhm.
because the thing is, man, if Pollard's touching it 25 a game and just smacking right into the
Mhm.
line every time, he's going to wear out in no time.
Exactly.
But when you have that thunder and lightning, right,
Mhm.
it just works so well with him. But the only way I don't see Tony Pollard back on the Cowboys, and this is a big point of contention with me and my guy Travis. We've been arguing about this
Mhm.
for a couple weeks. The only way Pollard's not a Cowboy next year if he flat out refuses to play on the franchise tag.
Yep.
That's it.
Absolutely.
He's coming
Absolutely.
back. He will be back.
Absolutely. I think the best chance to earn the most money is with Dallas because Jerry loves his guys. He falls in love with players, and Pollard is one of them.
Yep.
So absolutely, I definitely agree with you. All right, man. Quick recap there. We get the people what they wanted here. Some nice takes. But before I move on to the previews of the AFC and NFC round, man, let's talk about something big coming up, man, pretty soon here. Super Bowl, the big game special with our boys over there at TSS, man. Commissioner Coop and company. We're gonna be doing a little cup of tea there. Big Super Bowl special, right?
Yeah,
So go ahead.
we got TSS, we got TSF, we got Average Joe's, we got Patriot Sports Radio. We got everything. We got Nikki Gist, we got some Jeopardy. It's gonna be a hell of a show, and I cannot wait for it.
I know, man. He's there. We're definitely gonna come out. He's I know they're gonna release some new updates, dates and times, some all that kind of stuff, a little more concrete in the upcoming weeks. So yeah, we're only a couple of weeks away from the Super Bowl, more or less. So this is gonna be huge, man. Before the big show, watch the real big show, which is gonna be the Super Bowl special from TSS Fantasy Sports.
Yeah, the real big show. I like that. It's a
Oh,
big show.
oh man. All right. So let's get here to some. Let's start with the Eagles and 49ers, man. Let's do this. Let's do some quick predictions and game breakdown. Let's see and let's do some picks. Let's pick who you think it's going to win. We'll both give ours, and then we'll talk a little fantasy, DFS wise, because there's no really leagues that do the playoffs. And let's pick some locks of the week. First and foremost, 49ers and Eagles. What do you see in this game? How do you break this down real quick for us? And give me who you think's going to win.
So, like I said, I picked the Niners coming into the postseason. I do think they are the best team in the NFC. I think they have multiple players on that team that can absolutely wreck a game. I think Philadelphia's offense is light years ahead of the Dallas
Mhm.
Cowboys. They have multiple elite options at the wide receiver position. They have the thing that's crazy about Philadelphia is Miles Sanders. He's a good back. Smallwood is a good back. They've got a bunch of good pieces, but man, they just have so many damn running backs that they can throw at you and pound and pound and pound. With that being said, I don't think Philadelphia has as good of a defense overall as Dallas. I don't think they'll be able to shut Debo Samuel down like Dallas did. I don't think they'll be able to limit Christian McCaffrey like Dallas did. I think this will be a higher scoring
Mhm.
game. And I think Brock Purdy rides this wave all the way to the Super Bowl. I'm going to say that the final score of this is going to be something like 28-24, and my edge goes to the San Francisco 49ers.
Just to touch on that, I definitely agree with you. The over under is 46 and a half. So you're definitely in the neighborhood. I'm picking the over on this game because unlike the Dallas game, it's definitely going to be a higher. There's going to be more fireworks. I think that you could score on the Eagles because you guys did. I mean, they have, but now their defense is nothing to laugh at either. But it's not. It's not
Yeah,
Cowboys. But the front four is not as bad. They have a decent secondary, but I think
they
the
don't have a Micah Parsons, is what
there
they
we go.
don't have. That guy
Exactly.
wrecks games.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But the 49ers do have a Micah Parson in Boza.
Couple of them. Yeah.
Exactly. And again, running quarterbacks is a problem for those kinds of defenses, right? So that's where you got it. There's a lot of matchups problems. They're gonna have a hard time keeping up with Kittle. All right. They're gonna have a hard time. They're gonna use McCaffrey a bunch of ways. And I think Debo is gonna have a insane game because they're gonna use, I think Debo is gonna get used all over the effing field, whether it's running the ball and he's gonna get a lot of attempts. And that's gonna open up the deep route to Ajuk. I think Brock, he's going to be cooking. And I think both guys, it's going to be a high scoring game. Both guys are going to be just slinging it and running the football like there's no tomorrow. I honestly, and I'm with you. I got them winning myself as well. And yeah, I like your score. I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 28-24, 28-26. That kind of neighborhood definitely works for me as well. So it's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a fun game. Definitely gonna be a fun game. Shoot me for DFS purposes, right? Since you are a fantasy pro, you know what I'm saying? Give me two locks, two players, could be the same team, opposite team. Give me two locks that you would start in fantasy when you build your daily fantasy football lineup this weekend. The slate for both games. So let's start with this game. Give me two locks.
Two locks for me, and I usually like to stack it up with
Yeah,
a quarterback
we'll
and a
talk about
running
that.
back or
We'll talk about that. We
something
gotta
like
get you
that,
down.
right?
We gotta get you
But
guys.
But for me, the locks in this game, I'm picking one on each side. Give me Christian McCaffrey, who
Mhm.
is going to absolutely wreak havoc on the Philadelphia Eagles. And then on the other side of the ball, give me um, AJ Brown.
Okay.
AJ Brown is the best wide receiver on this field over Debo Samuel, over Devontae
Mhm.
Smith. He's going to make some plays. He's going to beat the 49ers secondary, which isn't anything
Mhm.
to write home about. CeeDee Lamb had no problem eating
Mhm.
against that secondary. The rest of the Cowboys did. Debo's better than CD.
Mhm.
He's gonna feast all day.
Okay. I like, so I'm gonna give him my two locks. I like Kittle because he seems to be Brock Purdy's favorite target, and it's
Blanket,
Tariq
yep.
Woolen. And look at that catch that guy made, bro. I mean, Kittle is like the last 5 games of the season healthy. He's a problem, bro. He's up there in the Kelsey echelon, of top tight ends in the league, right?
And
Um,
I think people forgot that,
yeah, exactly.
because of his injuries. But, people want to talk about Mark Andrews and Kyle
Mhm.
Pitts. No, man, this fucking guy has done it, and he's done it consistently if he can stay healthy. And that switch from Jimmy G to Brock Purdy, it's like the light came back on right then and there.
It's like some new rejuvenation for Kittle, and people forget the guy's a heck of a blocker too. So he not just can go ahead and catch the football and make plays, but he could also block well. And they use him in that
Yep.
kind of like, block and then skip away kind of crap and hit him with a pass. So I like Kittle with the 49ers. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick another player. And, the obvious one to me is Jalen Hurst. But, just to keep it out of there because everybody's going to be stacking up. And I'm going to give you the opportunity to give me a stack right before when we do the two recaps. So you go ahead and give me a stack. Start thinking about that. I think, man, who's going to have a sneaky game for the Eagles? Absolutely, I think it's going to be Devontae Smith because I mean he's getting all the scraps, man, and I think they're gonna use what's his name Goddard a lot to block, and it's gonna be kind of he's not gonna have the targets that usually Goddard will get,
He
and I
would
think
have, yep.
that, I think it's gonna benefit Devontae Smith a little. So those are my two locks for this game. I mean, it was hard to go after you when you had some really good locks. You know what I'm saying? So those are my other two that I'm thinking definitely will do that. So, but yeah, I'm with you there, man. I agree with you. I got Niners. Definitely got Niners, and the Brock. I think it's gonna be cooking. All right. Hey, let me just put this up here. We gotta have to holler at Coop after the show. I mean, after our show here. He said he sent them some links.
Always.
You know that.
I went
Hey
down to
man,
some commissioner time.
he's
It's
he's
time.
always working, bro. He's always working. The dude is always freaking working behind the desk. You know what I mean? All right, let's touch on the Bengals and Chiefs, and this is going to be another marquee matchup here, my brother. Um, Same thing. Give me your breakdown here. What do you see, and who do you got winning this game?
I think this is going to be the game of the year. I
Think so?
think there is going to be fireworks galore. For last season, it was all about the Bills and the Chiefs, like slugging it out at the end, right?
Mhm.
Um, this year, I think it's Burrow and Mahomes going toe to toe. I don't think either. I don't think either of these teams have terrible defenses or
Mhm.
bad defenses, right? But I don't think
No.
these defenses are going to stop these two juggernaut quarterbacks. At the end of the day, Mahomes may be the better quarterback. He might be. Burrow's lapped him a couple of times when it comes to weapons. There are three wide receivers on Cincinnati that would arguably be the top option in Kansas City. So for me, um, I think Joe Burrow, does his thing again. I think he's Joe Cool. I think he goes into Kansas City of the most hostile environment,
Mhm.
and I think he gets it done yet again and punches it into the Super Bowl.
I'm there with you, especially the fact that a high ankle sprain for Mahomes. It's not going to be a good. So mobility goes out the window. Even though he's not a guy that runs like Jalen, but he does uses his mobility to step in the pocket, move around. The guy has
Extends plays.
and plays and then sling it 50 yards. Right, that's going to be
Yep.
effective. You saw it last week. And what a week of rest or 3 days that doesn't help. That's a nagging injury that's going to carry over to the off season, and that's a big factor. And not just because of that, but honestly, like you said, they don't have great secondary either team. But the better talent is on the Bengals side when it comes to Jamar Chase. Who's going to D up Jamar Chase? And then if you're going to D up or double team Jamar Chase, who's gonna cover Higgins, right?
Higgins, nobody. Yep.
And then oil can Boyd over there, Tyler Boyd, throw him in there, and this dude can also catch touchdowns, right? And like you said, they're gonna run Mixon again. That's gonna be the game script. This is the playoffs, right? And P Ryan going in there, and they have a third option running back too that go in there and pound it in the damn in the goal line. So honestly, I think, and then you have Mister I don't give a damn about what everybody thinks about us, Joe Burrow, and he's gonna go in
Yep.
there with that mentality that I am gonna win this game. I mean, he said it best, man. When they goes, "What do you think about winning this game and facing the Chiefs?" He was like, "Better get the Buffalo Bills
The
fans."
refunds.
So
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's the kind of guy he is, man. He just goes in there. They asked him, I mean, are you worried that you're the underdog? I was like, no, I don't think of myself as the underdog in any game. I mean, that's what you call winning mentality. This guy is definitely Mamba mentality all the way, man.
Yep.
So I'm like you. I think the over under is 47.5. I got the over on that one for sure.
Over.
For
Way
sure.
over. Give
And
me all over on that game.
yeah, no, Coop. I mean, one guy that we haven't gone into detail, but yeah, Kelsey, and we mentioned Kittle. Yeah, I mean, I guess Schultz. He should have, he really kind of, even though he caught a touchdown for you guys, Schultz has had a pretty good season, but then he couldn't drag that foot down in that other play. You know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, the tight ends have been key this whole playoffs, especially Kelsey and Kittle. So I think Kelsey's gonna eat. And like I said, that's the thing. You got Kelsey for the Chiefs, and the rest of the wide receivers are a bunch of freaking dishwashers and busboys, right?
Yep.
That's what you got. So for sure, give me 2 locks.
Two locks in the Bengals Chiefs. This one's tough. I mean,
Mhm.
there is so
There's a
many
lot of locks.
good options to choose from. I'm gonna pick a little bit of a surprising
Okay.
one. I've been riding this guy for a hot minute, and it's Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon is getting all of that little dump off passing work from Pat Mahomes. He's been consistent week in and week out down the stretch. He was the absolute best running back in the fantasy football playoffs. I think that continues, and I think Jerick McKinnon's a very overlooked
Mhm.
piece on this Kansas City Chiefs offense. On the other side of the ball, I'm going with the best wide receiver on the planet. Give me Jamar Chase.
Good picks. Good picks. I think the McKinnon point is going to be vital actually this week because of Mahomes' injury situation, right? So I think he's going to be dumping down a little more than usual on the passing side because they're going to try to rush him. They're going to try to go take him out. That's going to be the bottom line.
Of
I mean,
course,
they got to try to go take him out because you get hit in that knee,
they
man.
might even sign Vontez Perfect. I don't know, like throw
Exactly.
everything at him.
Exactly. They're going to throw everything at him early in the game. So, how do you kind of prevent that? Just get rid of the ball real quick and, dump it down to your running back. And what are the better running back that can do what McKinnon does? The Jet, right? He catches it and, he has a slight opening. He's going to take off, 40 yards.
Yep.
So that over dump down. So in this game, my locks, I definitely like, I'm going to stay with quarterbacks. I want definitely got to go with Kelsey because he's going to get all the targets just on volume based, right? He's going to catch a touchdown. And then for the Bengals, man, I think Joe Mixon is gonna have it's gonna have a decent game again, and I think he's gonna actually find the end zone today because I think they're gonna try to run the ball and play action, and that's how they're gonna beat the actual the Chiefs. And Coop, how are you mentioning Gasecki, man? All right, next to like Goddard and her, come on, man.
Hey! Look, even broken clocks right twice a day. Mike Gesicki scored in the playoffs. It happened. It's a valid point. He's
Yeah,
there. He did. He scored a touchdown.
from a backup quarterback. I mean, like another third stringer. Yeah,
Yeah, a
too bad
third
he
stringer
wasn't good.
that was drafted a couple picks before Big Cock Brock and hasn't lived up to that billing at all.
Oh man, unreal, man. Brock again is something that I don't think. I mean, look, I never seen anything like that for a for the last pick of the draft for Mr. Irrelevant. Have you ever seen anything like that? Whether not just the quarterback, I mean,
I don't even
Brady.
think I don't even think you could consider Tom Brady. Brady was a sixth rounder, but like it's in today's age, like it was different back in 2000 when Brady
Mhm.
came out, right? You didn't have all of these advanced analytics and
No,
statistics and all of these extra scouts and everything, right? And so in today's modern NFL for a Mr. Irrelevant to perform to this level on the biggest stage, it's insane.
I almost missed this right here. Um,
Gross.
yeah, look at this. Look at this. Look at the last time they met each other in college. Look at this. All right, Oklahoma won 42-41. Look at the numbers on these guys, man. 68 rushing yards for Jalen, threw for 273, rushed for 2 touchdowns, threw for 3. Look at Brock, man. 19 for 30, efficient as hell, 282, 5 touchdowns, had 55 on the ground, all right, and rushed for a touchdown. So we're not gonna get 41-42, but I think we gotta there's definitely gonna be some fireworks. And this kid right here, man, he again has a chip
He's
on his
different.
shoulder, and he's different. It's just they saw something. They saw something in him to draft him that late, and then to just hand them the wheels to the car, baby. Give them the keys to the car, mom and dad. Here you go. Even though you just got your license, go ahead and drive us home to Miami.
Here's the Ferrari.
There we go. Take it, kid. Yeah, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. When they give him the car, when he takes his dad's Porsche or whatever the hell it is. But yeah, this is. I forgot to bring this when we were breaking it down. I'm like, yeah, this is insane, man. I mean, that's going to be interesting. I think that's the biggest story. Believe it or not, I think that's going to be the most watched storyline of the weekend over Mahomes and the bank and Mahomes and Burrow because of Mahomes' injury. And I think everybody's going to be looking at. Everybody wants this kid to win. You know.
I disagree, man. Round four, Burrow Mahomes is look. This is a nice undercard, right?
Yeah.
It's a nice light heavyweight bout. Nah, the heavyweight championship
True.
is Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow. And look, man, don't count out Mahomes. Like
No,
Burrow
no.
has the better team. Mahomes is injured, but we've seen Pat Mahomes do some crazy shit when his back's against the wall before. So I'm picking the Bengals. Would not be shocked at all if Kansas City delivered.
I don't think nobody's going to be shocked if either team from each side of the matchups win. Right?
I will.
Eagles.
I'll be pretty shocked if the Eagles beat the 49ers.
They do have a lot of
No
talent.
disrespect to the Eagles. I think they're a great team. I think Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback. This 49ers team is nasty,
Yeah.
and they're on a roll. I just don't think Philadelphia has enough to stop the locomotive.
It's definitely a tough sell for the Eagles to get over this hump, man. You know what I mean? It's tough. I think we got two really good matchups that it's been a few years since you kind of like say, it's kind of like a 50-50 for both, right? I mean,
Yep.
but at the end of the day, it's just, I think it's going to be two great. I don't think it's going to be a blowout here. I mean, look at the lines. Vegas is pushing this so hard. I mean, the lines are like, look, plus 2.5 for the Niners, +1 for the Chief. The spread. I mean, this is come on, man. They're expecting a close game, and when they got you over 46, in reality, they think they got to score. They got to score 50. They just got to score 50 combined. So it's pretty good, man. And let's close it out with give me a stack, your favorite stack. All right, of this AFC NFC matchup, whatever you think. Give me your favorite stack that you're gonna build your DFS lineup around this weekend.
There are 3 stacks
Yeah.
I employed all season long. Unfortunately, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, they're no longer in this equation, so that leaves me 2. And look, man, I've been screaming from the rooftops. I think it's the best team in the NFL. I think it's the best offense in the NFL, and I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL. Give me Joe Burrow and give me Jamar Chase. Their money, it's going to be a shootout. They need each other to win. Burrow's going to eat either way. Burrow's going to get his, and T. Higgins could have a monster game. And it could be less Jamar Chase, but at the end of the day, Jamar Chase is his dog, and he's going to feed his dog. So give me those 2.
I think you have to go with a 3-man stack at this point because the field is so short, right, for the tournaments and stuff like that.
Oh, if you're letting me throw a third player in there, absolutely give me T. Higgins.
Yeah, Higgins. I think that's probably going to be the most coveted stack of the weekend. Everybody's going to play those 3. It's going to be chalk. It's going to be chalk. You got to pick those 3 guys, especially on DraftKings, where the prices for Higgins and Chase are reasonable. But yeah, I mean, that's the most obvious one, and that's going to be the most that's going to have the most chalk. I'm going to give you a surprise one, right? I'm gonna give you, and I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a 3-man stack with 2 of the same team, and then I'm gonna bring it back, right? So I'm gonna go with Jalen and AJ Brown and I'm gonna bring it back with Christian McCaffrey. If we could
Okay.
afford those three guys, I mean, then you got they're pricey. You got three pricey players. You're gonna have to find how you win tournaments, like maybe Elijah Mitchell getting in there and winning something, getting something. I mean, I don't know. But you got Miles Sanders, who's gonna have a tough time running that ball against the 49ers. That's where you got to pick these low owner team and throw them in there in order to.
Well, and when you want to talk about those, GPP
Yeah.
style tournaments, right? Look, the other stack I was talking about, obviously Mahomes and
Mhm.
Kelsey,
Yep.
but man, Jerick McKinnon just
Absolutely.
continues to fly
Absolutely.
right under the radar,
Absolutely.
as does Isaiah Pacheco for that matter. So either of those Chiefs running backs, they're probably going to be in all my lineups. I said one or the other is going to be in there just because of the value alone.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, another flyer that you're going to see probably popular, Hayden Hurst at tight end because you're going to save some money on there. McKinnon is going to be owned just like Pacheco a lot. People will definitely go for Miles Sanders, not because he's going to have a great game, but they want to be lucky, and he's going to be owned probably the least amount because he has, I think, the worst matchup out
Yep.
of all the running
And
backs.
don't count out those, dart throws, the Wendell Smallwoods of this world,
Yeah,
man. The Eagles, that's the thing
yeah.
that's the one reason
Watkins,
I think the Eagles can do something against the Niners is they just have so many bodies to throw at you in the run game. Like it's like their running back room is unlimited. It like never stops. They've got guy after guy after guy. You got, Dallas a couple weeks ago. Pollard goes down. Okay, well, we're just gonna have to pound Zeke 70 fucking times, and it doesn't do nothing, right? That's not Philadelphia. Next man up, they've got plenty of weapons
they do.
there.
They do. Bar Scott can get it in. I mean, Quay Watkins is another guy that could just get benefits out there in the deep ball, right? They have a lot. I forget it. They also have another guy. They just they're an offense that have a lot of pieces together. So yeah, that's gonna be the key to DFS. And it's funny, DFS gets really disgusting in the playoffs, man. Only degenerates like us play DFS when there's like two teams, man, and try to.
That's the best time to play.
It is, man.
I'm just saying, I won $5,000 doing that a couple weeks ago. Just
Get out of
saying.
here, bro. No way. You hit
Hey,
it.
the trenches, baby, the trenches.
Oh, I forgot. I
Yeah,
trenches. Shut those guys. Shut the trenches out. Congratulations, champ. Now you're not under contract anymore. You can talk about it.
yeah. Champ, baby, champ.
Nice. Congratulations, bro. You're lucky that I got fucked. Now you would have been saying a different story.
Hey, I'm just saying, I wanted it to be you and I at the end. You were the guy stabbed in the back in the beginning, and we patched up and mended those fences. But man, that league was a whole hell of a lot of fun, and
Of course,
honestly, man, honored to win that because
yeah,
that was not easy. That was some of the toughest competition I've ever faced.
it is definitely different, man. It is definitely different, and again, it's one of those things that you get to do at least once in your life, right? To just say that you did it. So it
Yeah,
was cool. It was a good time for sure, man. We met a lot of good people. So
amen to that.
yep,
Yes.
we did. All right, my man. Give us a shout out. Shout yourself, your stuff out. Where can we find you? Where can my audience find you and stuff like that? Real quick.
I'm not a hard guy to find. I've got a little bit of stuff everywhere.
Yep.
My home base, TrueSerumFootball.com. Find me on Facebook, TSF. I also very involved with TSS Fantasy. Find them on YouTube. Patriot Sports Radio, who Elio is also someone who frequents. I write all their articles for them. So that's PatriotSportsNow.com. And coming soon, we have the Fantasy Sports Corp, which I will be, moving and shaking. And then if I could just let out, one little other small thing,
Of course,
this
man.
probably isn't the last time you see me rocking with E-Man over here.
There's some things coming. We don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but this is a dry run right here. Just get. We're wetting our beaks over here, letting everybody, get a little taste of the, what I'm saying, the
Yeah.
oil from the good old homeland. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, wait, listen, my brother, I appreciate you jumping on. And just to recap real quick, we got the Niners and the Bengals for the Super Bowl, right? That's what
Niners and Bengals, that's the picks.
there we go. My man, I appreciate you. Everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in and watching. My boy Jordan Thomas from True Serum Football and everywhere else he goes because the guy is a grinder. And your boy E-Man signing out. Peace.